Hello Lomzy team, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Lomzy. My name is Uloma Ezike. Today's sewing tutorial is on how to make this trendy gathered dress. It has a side pocket and a side slit. I'm going to be sharing all of that with you. Yes, it's going to be beginner friendly, so grab a glass of wine and sit tight and let's go through this sewing tutorial. Now, if this is your first time coming across my channel, on this channel I share tutorials, sewing tutorials on how to make trendy designs and DIYs, and also sewing tricks and tips. So consider subscribing and hit the notification bell icon so you don't miss any of my sewing tutorials. And to my returning subscribers, thank you for always supporting. Now let's get into this tutorial already. So I have folded my fabric in fold like this. This is the side on fold and this other side is not on fold for the zip side. So that's how you're going to be folding your fabric. We'll start by taking down the horizontal measurement. You start from this straight line and take down the horizontal line. The armhole depth is 9 inches. You mark it there and square it out. And also the half length is 15 inches and you take down there and mark it out. So you connect that there like that and you connect it. Next is to get the shoulder width, and the shoulder width we're working with is 15 inches. 15 inches divided by 2 is 7.5, and we just mark it there and connect this line. Next is to mark the neck width for the front and back. The neck width we're working with is 3.5. I mark that there, and the back is 1 inch. I'm going to be taking it down and come down 5 inches for the front neck. Then if you want it to be a V-neck, you can also come down like this 7 inches or so and you connect it like that. Anyone you want, but I think I prefer this because that's what the client wants. Next is to drop down 1 inch for the shoulder sloping and then mark for the armhole curve. But before we do the armhole curve, we're going to be getting the bust, round the bust measurement. The round the bust measurement we're working with is 38 inches and we divide that by 4 and you get 9.5 and you add half inch is in allowance to that, which will make it 10 inches. I mark that. I'll be squaring that down on the waistline. Remember, I haven't added any sewing allowance. You remember that. So mark it down, and the next thing you have to do is to get the bust point. That's the bust span. To get your bust span, you measure from one nipple to the other nipple. That's the bust span, and has is 8 and we divide that by 2. We get 4. You have to know where your bust point would stop. So from the shoulder line, we are going to be taking this down. Our bust point is 10 inches, but I'm coming down 1 inch so that the curve will not be pointed. Now we have to get the armhole curve, and for us to do that, we divide this place to this place by 2, which is 8. We divide it by 2 and we curve it like this. Next is to get the waist measurement, and the waist we are working with is 34 inches and we divide that by 2. We get 8.5 and we add 1 inch to that. So I mark that there and connect it. Now we'll mark the darts and we're going to be sharing it equally, half inch on both sides for the 1 inch dart allowance we have. On the waist, we are going to be dropping half inch in front so that the half length will drop properly on the dress. So you connect it back to this line. Let me show you what I mean. You connect this, but the front still remains that place. I hope you understand what I mean. Yeah, so when I cut it, you will understand. So remember, I haven't added any sewing allowance. I'm going to cut it out and add all the allowances now. As you can see, I have added all the allowances, half inch everywhere. Then you can notice that this front is longer than the back. You see it? Yeah, so that your dress will balance. Remember to notch your dart so that you'll be able to transfer it inside. You know, this is outside, that's not where you're going to be sewing, so you notch it like that and transfer it into the inside of the fabric. So you transfer it here. So what you will do is cut this out from the lining. Next is to cut the gathers, but I'm going to be doing this on a mock, because if I'm doing it with this, it will be too wide and you will not see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be using this as a mock. Remember what I have always said on my channel about gathering is either you times whatever, wherever you want to gather, you times it by 3, 4 or 2, whatever you want, how you want it exaggerated. But for this one, I'm going to be multiplying my waist by 4. So let's assume that this is the length of the dress and the width is the where we're going to be gathering. So let me measure it out and show you what I mean. The waist measurement I'm using is 34 and I'm going to be multiplying that by 4. So practically I'm going to measure 34 into 4 places like that. I want this to be beginner friendly, so I'm going to be making it the most simplest way to do, because I want you to understand it, right? So now you have it. If you don't want any side pocket or side zip, you can just go ahead and gather it like this at this stage. But for me, I am going to be adding side slits and I'm going to be adding pockets by the side. So for you to get a side pocket, you fold it into 4 like this, leaving this part for the zip side. Now if you cut the other side, this side, so remember that this is the center front and that's the center back. Now if you cut this place, this is the side that you're going to be adding the pockets, the side pockets. So let me cut it open and show you what I mean. So now this will be the front and this will be the back. This will be for the back zip and this other side will be for the side. Again, if you don't want a side slit, you can stop here and gather the back and gather the front and then add a side pocket. But for me, I'm going further again to add a front side slit. So I'm going to be dividing this into 3. Let me do that and show you what I mean. So you would divide this front piece into 3 places, and where you will want the side slit to be is to drop on your thigh. You know, it's flattering whenever it drops on your thigh, so that when the client moves their leg, the opening will show. So you divide this by 3 like this way, and you decide which side you want the side slit to be, whether you want it on the left or on the right. For me, I usually like mine on the right, so I'm going to be maintaining that. I'll cut up this place now. One part of the, you know, if it's divided into 3, one side of it, I cut it into 2. So this other one will be on this side and this will be on that side. Then this is where the zip will now be after gathering it. You gather this side and the slit will be here. So for the side slit to be comfortable and wearable for the client, I'm going to be adding invisible zip to the slit. So let me show you what I have done on my main fabric. This is the back. This is where you are going to be gathering the back like this. And then this is the front. Now see, I have added my side pockets. I have a video on how to add a side pocket, so you go ahead and add your side pocket. And again, I also have a video on how to add the sides invisible zip. I've added the invisible zip on my side slit. You see how it is? The wearer will be able to decide what length they want their slit to be by either opening up this zip, you see how it is, or closing it. It depends on how she wants to wear it. So before you do that, make sure you leave some allowance so that you'll be able to freely gather your fabric. I love this. So you go ahead and make this fun dress for your client. After adding the side pocket and the invisible zip on the side slip, you gather all your fabric in one. That's, you join both the front and the back together so that you have one piece for you to easily gather your fabric to be a whole one piece. I hope you understand what I mean. Yes, but when you're doing that, make sure that the side falls into the side. When you're joining it up with the upper side, you make sure the side meets up with the side, and the side slit, this side slit, it must enter where you have your bust point by the right. Now we're going to be cutting for the sleeve, and you can decide any sleeve you want. For me, I am making a cold shoulder sleeve. So what I have here is full length of ankara, which is 46 inches, and I folded it in 4 like this. When you fold it, you get 10 and a half or 11 or 11 and a half inches depending on the length of the fabric. What I have here is 10 and a half. So for the cold shoulder sleeve, we need 2 measurements, which is round the arm measurement and the length of the sleeve. So we are going to be getting the radius of round the arm measurement. To do that, you divide round the arm measurement by 3.14. So round the arm is 14 inches, divide that by 3.14, I will get 4.45. Then I would approximate that to be 5 inches. So you mark the 5 inches all round, and then the length of the sleeve, take it round like that. This is an off shoulder sleeve, so I'm going to be marking part of the off shoulder. You know, it's still remaining, so I have to take down 3 inches here so that I get the remaining part of the off shoulder like that. See that? So I'm going to be cutting out all these things to get my cold shoulder sleeve in place. Don't forget to follow me on my social media handles. I'll be dropping that in the description section. Lomzy Sews on Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to join my Facebook group, Sewing Tutorial by Lomzy, you can as well do that. I'll be dropping all in the description section. Remember to notch the center. Let me show you a tip that you will use to make this. So you overlock this and fold it once like this, so that it's easy. If you want to pass an elastic into it, you can pass it into it like that. This is sewing tip number 1, Abby, or number 100. So you make sure you fold it once like that after overlocking it, and that's it. So let me show you how the dress looks.